Hello everyone, Mike here, commercial real estate broker with Go Florida Commercial, helping you buy, sell, and lease commercial real estate here in Central Florida. Today I'm here with Jennifer Bondy and the Bondy Law team. Jennifer and her team have been practicing law in the area for more than 10 years, helping and counseling clients with legacy planning, probate administration, small business counsel, and real estate law. For the real estate law, they practice closing and title services, contract and lease renewal, loan workouts, and real estate development. Today, we're going to be discussing commercial leasing, looking at both the tenant and landlord perspective. Jennifer, thank you for doing this today.
Yes, thanks for having me today.
So many times a tenant will move into a space and it's not exactly how they want it. So they have to build out the space, tenant improvement. So in a lease, we need to spell it out to make sure that who approves the tenant improvements, who's going to pay for the tenant improvements, and how is the landlord going to compensate them? When are they going to compensate the landlord for those improvements? Can you expand a little bit that on tenant improvements?
I'm so glad you asked about that, because that is very common with commercial leases, that the tenant is going to invest some of their own money in building out the space to meet their specifications, right? Sometimes they're going to get a white shell and then they have to build out the interior so that they've got the space to, meet the needs of their use. And that, I think, it's negotiated quite often between the parties. Is the landlord going to provide a tenant improvement credit that they receive, $50,000, let's see, towards tenant's improvements, or is the tenant going to pay for that all of themselves? And an important clause that comes into play with that in a lease is going to be mechanics lien.
Sure.
So when there's tenant improvement involved, the contractor who's providing the services for the build out can potentially lien the property against the landlord because the tenant has failed to pay the contractor. So we would want to make sure that there's a clause in the lease that says the tenant cannot have any liens on the property and require them to make sure that those contractors are paid. However, a lot of people don't realize that if tenant improvements is a material consideration for the lease, sometimes that provision is not valid. So if the landlord has offered some type of compensation to the tenant for improvements, and that's a material consideration for the lease, even having the provision in the lease may be invalid. So that one can be really complicated, and I certainly want to make sure that my parties are protected, whether I'm representing the landlord who could potentially have a lien or a tenant who's going to be investing, a large sum of money in the property.
Tenant improvement, so important. So many questions about it. So important to get that clear. Jennifer, I really want to thank you for doing this today. And if someone wants to learn more about commercial leasing and the Bondy Law team, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly help if you're a landlord or a tenant looking for assistance with drafting a commercial lease. You can call our office at 407-720-9350. And our website is really simple. It's www.bondy.law.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank the good folks over at Splash Social Marketing for putting together this video series. They help businesses of all sizes with their social media, their marketing, and their website. They can be reached at splashsocialmarketing.com. And again, I am Mike a commercial real estate broker with Go Florida Commercial, helping you buy, sell, and lease commercial real estate here in Central Florida. Thank you.